So welcome to issue 40, which is also the last pack, the last issue of pack number 10. So we'll just quickly go through the parts. There's quite a few parts, but not going to be quite so much to do. This is probably going to be the easiest of the 4 issues of pack 10. And to be honest with you, where some people may complain and say, oh, well, we've done so much and we're going to do so little, I think that's a welcome change, because when you get the 4 packs, you jump in and now you're getting to the end of the pack. So we have got a piece of hull plating, BF14, and it's got BF14 written there. I know you can't see that. We have got pieces of glazing. I'm not going to open these until I actually require them, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There might actually be 6 in there, but these are going to go onto the iconic front forward bit there. I've forgotten what it's called. I do apologise. So next we have got 4 fixing screws plus 1 spare. So that's these gold ones, and these will be the ones that they look like they're going to fix the connectors together. So they're the ones that I call brass ribs. So I won't open those until I need them. We then get more 18 fixing screws. These are for the hull plating. These are what connects these pieces to the metal frame. And again, I'll probably just put those back later on. And then we've got more black screws. They're called fixing screws, 15 of them. They're in the bag there. And then we get 3 2-hole connectors. They're in a small bag. We'll come to those. I think we're going to use those. We've also got more glazing, piece number 10. That's why I couldn't keep up with the number of pieces. And then we've got interior detail, 11 pieces on a sprue. Obviously at this point we don't know what they're for. It won't be until we actually use them, which I think will be the next issue, not this one. I think they've built us up with a few parts ready in advance. So let's crack on with the one and only stage of this issue. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take a 2-hole connector, and I put these in this little pot, but I've struggled to get them. So that's your 2-hole connector, and we're going to fix that in this position here, and that will be fixed as always with a black screw. There's only one kind of black screw, so I can get away with calling them black screw. Now, because we're not going to be connecting this at this present moment to the main frame, we're only going to connect the 1 screw. I don't want to put this in very, very tight. There is a little ridge on the main frame which should direct this 2-hole connector. I might just have to turn this around. I like to put the screw into the connector and then bring the connector to the frame. Now, like I say, when I screw this, it should pull that 2-hole connector into there, so it does set at the correct place. However, I like to just keep that a little bit loose. Once we connect this one to the next piece of frame, then I can tighten both screws up. So we then need to put a 2-hole connector there. So obviously we're adding the connection points, and I'll turn that over, and that's just for my convenience. Because I'm right-handed, I'm going to find it easier to pop the screw into the 2-hole connector, and then I want to hold it on the free side. So obviously if I was doing the other side, I would probably hold it that way. So that will just go in like so. if I can find it. Now this one doesn't seem to have any little ridges, so it doesn't lock it into any position. So again, I'm just going to keep that a little bit loose, just so that I can adjust it as I put it onto the next piece of frame. Right, so now we need to bring in the frame, and this is massive, absolutely incredibly large. This is, I'm going to have to move my cameras and mics around. This is just a small portion of it. I mean, you probably got an idea of how big it was. Let me just bring the camera up. So that is the entire frame, and obviously we're just going to work on this piece. Okay, so I have accidentally missed a step, which is step 3, and we actually have another 2-hole connector to attach, which is this one at the front. So this is the first one that we've done, this is the second one, and then this is the third one. That's not a problem. I did think it felt a little bit odd the way that the sequence was, and the fact that there was, normally I've always found when they give us 2-hole connectors, we quite often use all of them, although there was one occasion when we didn't use them all, which is why it didn't, the alarm bells didn't ring, but it just didn't feel quite right. So I just double checked the magazine and I could see it wasn't right. This is one of the good things about this. As you build more and more, you start to get a feel of how the creators think. So what we need to do now, I'm just hoping I still have the microphone. Right, when we attach this, these pieces, as you can imagine, wants to go over the next piece, and these pieces want to go over, but this piece wants to go under the ring in the middle. So the way we achieve that is we pop this in at an angle like so, we make sure that goes in, and then we bring this down to meet, and it won't quite sit flush because where you've got the framework for the ramp, it's going to push this piece up, but this is all going to naturally sit down. So just make sure it's all fitting correctly. Because these 2-hole connectors have been put on ever so slightly loose, we can adjust all of those, and I would say that's a good fit. It's going to need a little bit of fiddling, but if we just place the screws in the right place in the right order, we will be able to achieve that. And it is asking us to put the three 2-hole connectors that we've achieved, that we attached first time stages in first. Sorry, I cannot get my words out today, so I'll pop this one in. I don't know if you can still see me, I'm just almost out of camera range there, and this is the problem with doing a very large build. So then we put our first one in, sorry, our third one. I think that's okay. Yeah. Where you naturally don't quite get this in, you put one screw in, and then that will pull it where it wants. Then you put the second screw in, it will pull it all in. By the time you get to the last screw, it's all been pulled in. It kind of pulls it where it wants it to be pulled. So by the time you get to the last screw, it sorts itself out. So they're in. They are not as tight as they could be, and the reason for that is I'm going to finish putting all the other screws in, and then I'll go around and I'll do a final tie-in. So once we've done that, we then need to pop these screws in, and there's no connectors to put in because we use the connectors that were already there. So right, so I think for this bit I can speed this up, and that will be the end of the magazine for this week. So then I will see you in issue 41.